Good morning, everyone. I hope
And
you guys are having a fine morning this morning. I'm gonna play something. Don't mind me.
nice. It's cold out, but it's nice out
I'm
today.
fucking cold. I don't like it. All right, I'm gonna
You're
put some.
always cold.
No, more so this morning. Like I didn't sleep very well because I was so cold last night. This should be the spring. Why are we still cold? I don't like it.
Because it's spring
No, fuck
and
that.
Alabama.
No, it should be hot. That's how it is.
No,
Yeah, that's how it is in
no. It's
Alabama.
April.
Yeah, it should be hot in
No,
Alabama.
it's not gonna get hot until May.
Lies. Lies. It should be hot now.
Nope. It's not gonna be hot right now because it's April.
It gonna be hot. It was warm like the past few weeks, so I'm not surprised if it gets hot.
The reason
I
it
just
was
don't like
warm
it
is
so
because
cold.
we had storms
And tornadoes.
with tornadoes. Yes.
I stand by what I said. It should be hot. My island
If
blood
it's
cannot
hot right
happen.
now, then we're gonna get more tornadoes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I still stand by what I said. It should be hot.
And have your backyard flood again.
Yep, that's fine with me. That's a problem with the city, not our house. So, anyway, I hope you guys had a good week. I'm actually very stoked to talk about this. Uh, we're gonna be talking about bad sequels.
Hey,
And yeah, so I got on this topic because I finally sat my husband down to watch all of the Blade trilogy. Okay?
hey.
And we had our opinions of Blade's trilogy. First Blade, amazing. Really, really good.
Fantastic.
Very good.
Nothing beats original.
Yeah, it was very good. And then we watched the second one. And it was all right. Cuz you saw him try to be like the what do you call it? Comedic
Belief.
relief. Yeah, and it didn't fit his personality from what he was in the first film, right? So then we watched the third film, which I also really loved because it has Ryan Reynolds and oh, what's her name? Shit, I can't think of her name right now. But Ryan Reynolds as the comedic relief, I thought worked really, really well. And that gave Blade to be who he technically was supposed to be in the first film, you know? So I
Yeah.
was like, this is great. But I will say the second Blade film is bad. I will write that as a bad sequel. Now, the third one was okay. It won't ever compare to the first, obviously.
I was about to say, rarely does anything that follows the original is as good as the first.
I will
Rarely.
rarely, Shrek being one of them, that is actually really good. Or, and we'll get to this as well, because we're not only going to be talking about just like our animated films, because we talk about that a lot on this podcast, because we just love
Because we're a
animated
bunch
films.
of, I was about to say, we're
We're
a bunch of
children.
grown
Yeah.
children.
So, which I'm very excited for. But we're also going to talk about like really bad sequels. Like it just doesn't hold up. It shouldn't have been made. Like why were they thinking of this of all films of all kinds? TV shows or like what is it? Spin-off series, we're not talking. We're just talking strictly films, movies.
Unless it's like a spin off sequel. Like, there are a lot. Like, Kung Fu Panda, like, the movies actually hold up pretty well. Third one's the weakest of the bunch. But I would say that they had a quote unquote spin off sequel show that just didn't hold up.
Yeah, I was just saying we're not talking about TV shows. They could have their shows because I know many of them do have shows. We ain't gonna talk about that. Just strictly the films. When you go to a theater and you pay an absurd amount of money to walk in to sit with a bunch of other people and watch a film, was it worth it? That's the question. Well, unless it's like straight to DVD, which is also something we're going to talk about. Um, so we're just gonna get this out of the way. Yeah, the Disney sequels. We're gonna go ahead and get it out of the way because like we'll talk about that for five ever. So we might as well talk about that first and then move on to others as well. Okay.
Mm.
And I'm talking about the Disney classic animated sequels.
The ones that
the straight to
weren't
DVD
done
ones.
by Disney.
Yes.
Ooh, older than that, girl. Straight to VHS.
Oh yeah.
That's like another. Ooh. That's another level of bad when it's straight to VHS instead of DVD.
Okay, yes. I want to go out here and say I know it's bad. I know that Disney's sequels to like a lot of the classics are bad. But I'm here for them. I love how bad they are, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, hi Monty. Yeah, no, I love how bad they are. The only one that I did not enjoy how bad it was Atlantis Lost Empire. But that was because
Atlantis,
it was
that's kind of
awful.
an exception. It's like it's awful because it was supposed to be a series that got canceled before it ever really got off the ground. So
Right.
they're like, well, we can just turn this into a movie and save our efforts.
But it was an awful movie. It was so bad.
Because
Oh, it
it's
was
telling
so
three
bad.
stories that were supposed to be 3 different episodes.
Doesn't matter. It was still so bad compared to like all the other sequels. Okay, so I rewatched, what was it? Pocahontas 2, right? I rewatched that recently this month.
Yeah.
Or I guess I should say last month. I forgot it's April now.
Yeah.
So I rewatched it last month. And it was so bad, but like good in like a way that I was like, it was bad, but good. I can't tell you why. Because I know it's bad. But I personally was like, oh, it's so bad. It's kind of good. I can quite enjoy this. Because I felt like it was garnered to an even younger audience. If that makes sense.
I feel like that's how like a lot of movies, like sequels are. Because they're made later.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, well, we can't really target the original audience. They've aged out of it. And even then, we were probably a little too young for the movies that were coming out. Not saying that it's like it wasn't age appropriate, it was just geared for slightly older children. Well, now we're outside of that sweet zone, so it's just like, well, we're still gearing it towards that age demographic. We're just not in that age demographic anymore.
So, yeah, I guess that's true. So, you love Lilo and Stitch, right?
I love Lilo and Stitch so much.
How many sequels does the original film have? Huh.
I think there are 3 sequels. I know it had a spin-off show. But I know there's like Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch. I think like Stitch and Leroy or something.
Yeah. So there's 4, I think. There's Lilo and Stitch, Stitch the movie, Stitch Has a Glitch, Leroy and Stitch. And those are the 4 films before it became the series, right?
Series was somewhere in between those. I think it was like somewhat. It had to be after the second one because it introduced the other experiments, and then the show was chasing down all those other experiments.
Right. Yeah. So it is, in fact, 4 films.
Yeah, it is 4 films and a show.
Yes. Have you seen any? Because like I already talked about my personal favorite, which was Atlantis. What about your like I know you love Lilo and Stitch. So what is your opinions on those sequels?
I didn't get to see all of them. I know I saw the first and second one and watched the show. I didn't mind the second one, really. Just because I was at a younger age still, that it was still appealing to me, even though I was starting to age out of it, but it was Stitch, and Stitch is one of my favorite characters, so I was gonna give it a shot either way.
Yeah. So you're like,
I actually don't mind the show for it. I think they did actually pretty decent for the show.
I agree. I thought it was really nice. because you get to see, you're excited about what alien you're gonna see next.
And they did a really good job, because the second one only had like maybe 2 or 3 other experiments introduced.
Right.
And so I think they were very unique in comparison to Stitch. This is why I don't like Stitch's love interest that they've done. This is why I don't really like Toothless's like love interest from How to Train Your Dragon. I'm like, there's nothing unique about them. It's just a girl version of them.
That's true. That's true. Other than, like, I guess we're speaking of Toothless's whatever.
Light
she's
Fury,
white.
whatever.
Yeah, Light Fury into the Night Fury. Come on now.
Right. So, like, I don't mind the sequel. I don't mind the show because it was actually, it didn't have the greatest writing, but it still had very original concepts.
Yeah. I want to say that the second Lilo and Stitch Has a Glitch film, I hear good things about that particular one. Because the art was more, it wasn't like the original, obviously, but it was closer to it than any of the other films. And the story was actually pretty well written. But I also think it was made by this, like, the other Disney production company. And what. So there are some good Disney sequels. I'm going to say Stitch Has a Glitch is one of them,
I think...
I also... Okay, go ahead.
I was about to say, I think the second movie, and I've lost my mouse on this website, is... Like, I went to disney.fandom.com for Wiki Lilo.
Yeah.
And okay, well, nope, there goes. I don't have a cursor on the website.
Oh, God. Okay, well, let's see. I was gonna say what I would recommend as a Disney sequel. Cinderella 3. If you've never seen, don't see Cinderella 2. That was for a younger audience. Cinderella 3 though is pretty good. A Twist in Time. That was actually pretty good. I was very surprised on how good it was.
Another
and I was like,
great one.
I was about to say it was Aladdin and the King of Thieves.
Yes. And again, that's not the sequel, it's the third movie.
Yeah, it's the third film. The sequel, Return to Jafar, was okay-ish, but I didn't like it as much as the King of Thieves. Also, Aladdin's dad is hot.
Is he hot?
Oh, man. I'm just like, damn. His dad is fine. So, Aladdin 3, I would suggest watching that as well. But the ultimate sequel, especially coming into Disney animation, I'm pretty sure most of us have seen this already. That's The Rescuers Down Under.
Oh, and yeah.
I genuinely think that The Rescuers Down Under is stronger than The Rescuers. Because I recently, this past week, watched The Rescuers. And The Rescuers is sad. Let me just tell you. It is sad. It deals with child kidnapping and forced labor and stuff like that. And I was like, holy crap. As a kid, I remember it made me sad. I just didn't know why it made me sad. So I watched it as an adult and I'm like, oh, now I understand why it made me sad.
Yep.
I was like, the fuck? But The Rescuers Down Under, I think it was a lot more lighthearted, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It still dealt with like a heavy theme like poaching and what else, But I loved it. And the animation in that film as a sequel was amazing. Wow, it blew my mind. And you mentioned the flight scene. With the eagle.
I would say like the only person that can do animated flight scenes the best is Hayao Miyazaki. But they did a damn good job for an American film.
Oh my god. Also, Monty, yes, The King of Thieves was fantastic, and both Rescuers are good.
Yes, but we are focusing on sequels at the moment, so we do have to kind of ignore the original Rescuers for this conversation.
Yes, but I'm saying like
Also, I would
this.
give. I was about to say I would give Rescuers Down Under like more props for children liking it because it is a brighter movie. Like it's set in
Yes,
Australia. Australia is a very bright themed aesthetic.
yes, there was more
Where whatever
sun.
you watch, Crocodile Dundee and all that. But while the original Rescuers was set in Louisiana, specifically the Bayou.
Yep, and it was darker and more gloomy. The setting was amazing, though. You know,
Very good, very good
well
aesthetic and
drawn.
everything.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh. Yeah, and the aesthetics, but like the art of how they drew the bayou,
mm-hmm.
really well done. They really did the setting so well for the first. But we can't keep talking about the first film. Second film, they did it right because I mean, first of all, it's the desert, so there's only like a certain amount of browns that you could do, but they did it so
Dan.
well. God, it was so pretty.
Yeah.
It was like welcoming, and I don't know if you remember the opening scene where you like zoom in, like do like a full zoom. I used to pretend I was running. Um, in the opening scene of Down Under. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was really beautiful how they did that, how they animated that. That was really cool. And the colors were great. And the animals looked honestly more cuddly. That makes sense. Like everything about the Rescuers was good.
I was
But
about
I
to say
think
most of the animals anyway. There are some that are the exception. But if you think about it and analyze it, especially between the two, you've already stated that the theme or one of the major themes for Rescue Down Under is anti-poaching, where
yes.
we're wanting children to be friends with the animals. So we're going to make the animals very appealing. Well,
That's
the
true.
only animals that the little girl, I don't remember her name, ever really interacted with until the rescuers showed up were the two alligators.
Yes. Yes.
So they're going to be drawn a lot more scary.
Yes.
And the group of Bayou characters that helped our rescuers.
Yes.
They're Bayou characters. We know what they're implying.
Yes, but still, I thought they were really well drawn. There was like a turtle and a little owl with the little top hat. It was so cute.
And a little dragonfly.
Yes.
He's so cute.
He's adorable. Oh, he's so cute. Poor guy. They ran him ragged. And I'm like, he's just a dragonfly.
Did.
Also,
I was about to say, he would be a great little, like, animal mascot. They need to bring him back.
Cute. Yeah. I wish they did more with him, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so these are good. We need to talk about bad sequels.
Right.
So I have the next on my list. It's still in the Disney kind of thing, but we're gonna shift to Pixar. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially Pixar compared to DreamWorks. Do you think, as good as Pixar is, that they've made bad sequels? I'm talking about like Toy Story and
I didn't like
Cars.
Toy Story 4. I haven't seen Toy Story. Or I was about to say, Cars and planes are an abomination in and of itself. We can get to those in a second. But Toy Story 4, I haven't seen Toy Story 3. I just never got an opportunity to see it. Toy Story 4 I felt very weak. I understand that they put a lot of effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
But Pixar themselves did not want to do sequels. It was Disney that pushed them to do sequels every time.
Yes. Yeah.
Go
ahead.
I was just gonna go off. I'm like,
I was about to say, I've seen all of the Toy Stories because it was something that was such a classic for me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've seen all the Toy Stories. I loved the first 3 because even as, you know, even if though they didn't want to make sequels, they did very well in dealing with kids who grow up to adults to what happens to the toys after that, you know?
Right.
The 4th one They should have just. They should have never made it. And I
Yeah,
liked
no.
I liked the fourth one okay, you know?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it was still a common theme of
Hmm.
Woody, like, is he still gonna be the favorite toy after, Andy's gone, like all of that? Will he still be loved like that? And he's dealt with that kind of existential crisis in all like previous 3 films.
Hmm.
So I was like, there's no way you could put a spin on something like this again, you know?
Right. And I hope that they finish with Woody's story. Like,
They did.
like, Pixar probably did, but is Disney done with Woody's story?
Oh, I
Probably
hope
not.
so.
I know.
Yeah.
I hope so too. It needs to be done. We don't need to keep like beating this horse with a stick.
Well, I also think, in all honesty, I do think because of the unveiling of Toy Story Land, they're like, well, we need a new movie, just to keep this fresh and alive. Does that make sense?
And yeah, and we know that they passed it on. Sorry, spoilers for those who haven't had a chance to see it yet. But they gave the badge to Jesse, so it's supposed to be Jesse's story from now on. But are they gonna do that? Are they gonna rope in Buzz more? Buzz broke my heart. I'm like, you're treating Buzz like the writers are treating Buzz like very poorly in this. And Woody isn't showing his patience like he used to. And I understand that Buzz had like a reset in the 3rd movie, so that's probably why he doesn't understand everything very well anymore, is because he's forgotten everything. But it's like Woody was very patient with him. Like, they had their fight, they got along, they became friends, and then Woody was super patient with him, and then Buzz reset, and it's like he lost all that patience. And I'm just like, why would you do that? Why are you leaving him alone? He doesn't understand. He understands that you're his best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, take Buzz with you, because none of this is for Buzz. Buzz isn't staying for the child, he's staying for you.
Yeah.
So take Buzz with you. I don't know. Buzz was my favorite character. I didn't like Woody all that much, ever.
Yeah.
But, like, they did Buzz dirty.
That's what you're going to say on that.
Like, we're not going to take this entire podcast talking about animation. We already promised. So, do you have anything to say additional about the Toy Story sequels?
Well, the reason why I brought it up is because I thought that between Pixar's sequels and DreamWorks sequels, right? I feel like DreamWorks does better sequels. Pixar doesn't have a lot to work with. To a point, yes, but like we'll stick with actual sequels. We're not going to talk about the 3rd films because I'll get to that in a second. But between, let's say, because there's only like 2 films I think that Pixar does that has sequels to them. That is Cars, and that is Toy Story.
And those are cash cows for Disney, and Disney is the one that's forcing Pixar to make those sequels.
Yes.
So, and The Incredibles. There was a...
Oh, yes, The Incredibles, yes.
Yes.
So, and like The Incredibles, the 2nd film, I thought it was okay too. I thought it was very interesting, but I honestly thought it was good for an older audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, so shitting on Cars, there should have never been any sequels. And I've seen Cars. I had a little brother who's really who really loved it at the time, So I had to watch Cars and the sequels, all of that stuff. They were terrible. I'm just gonna straight up say they were not that great. They were just awful. And then you had Planes, like we talked about, and those were terrible. Those were terrible. And it's based in the same universe. And I was like, you could tell Disney was milking for products, just to sell merchandise. Oh gosh, it was awful. But it did make me think of DreamWorks. And someone on YouTube did a really good video on this. So I don't know if anyone here knows of The Odd Ones Out. But they talked about DreamWorks sequels. How the first film is fantastic, like always fantastic. And then the sequel that they put out, the second film, could arguably be better than the first. You know, and that's hard to come by, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you have the third films of any like DreamWorks trilogy. And the third films are the ones that are the worst out of all of them.
Yeah.
And in this situation, yes, I agree. So I'm going to take Shrek, okay? I loved Shrek. I still do. It deserves
what millennial
to be.
did?
Exactly. It deserves to be in the Library of Congress. It's such a classic. You know, it's important. The second film, Shrek 2, fucking love that too. It was awesome. I also love that movie. And like they brought in more characters, more voices. It was fantastic. Loved it. Shrek 3. I love you, Justin Timberlake. But it was shit. It was so bad.
Oh my god, it was terrible.
It was so bad. Shrek 4. A lot better than Shrek 3, that's for sure. You can't be worse than that. Like Shrek 3 was honestly just awful. But Shrek 4 was actually very good.
It's not Shrek 2, but hell, it's a lot better than Shrek 3.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then we'll go to How to Train Your Dragon, because we were talking about that.
Oh, yes.
First two How to Train Your Dragon films, amazing. Wow. Like, oh, especially the first one.
Emotionally, watch the second
first
one.
Two, oh my gosh. And oh, you never need to watch 4 then, never watch past the second? Yes, the fourth film of the Shrek series is actually very interesting. Like, it's very, very interesting. But yeah, sorry. How to Train Your Dragon. Third film, I wanted to like it. I wanted to like it. And it's good. It's not like Cars bad, but it's still, like you said, it wasn't as strong, you know? I just didn't like it as much.
I'd say Kung Fu Panda has the exact same problem. Another DreamWorks. It has a fantastic original. Very sweet, very cute. Second one is actually done pretty well.
Oh, I really like the second one.
The villain, I feel like, surpasses in a different way. Surpasses the original villain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is impressive to say.
The way they drew him to be kind of psychotic but very smart, I was just like, wow. And he's as a villain, very much.
Oh. Yes.
And then the third film.
Thank you, Monty. Thank you, Gary Oldman. I was about to say Gary Oldman is just like a flawless being, and I love him very much. And I need him in more stuff, even though he's already in a shit ton of stuff.
Right.
But like the third movie, it's just so weak.
Yeah,
it's so weak because it really almost feels like it negates a lot of the things that he learned in the first and second movie to just like accept himself. His found family is just as valid as a biological family and everything.
Yeah. I was holding out for it because How to Train Your Dragon is it's very well done. I thought they had all the pieces there, but instead they're worried about getting Toothless a girlfriend. And I was like, come on.
And
now.
She's a girlfriend that's just nearly the exact same as he is. Yep. The same problem that Lilo and Stitch have.
Yep. I was just like, why? Just why? Are we even going to talk about Madagascar, or are we in agreement that Madagascar is just something we shouldn't be talking about?
I was about to say, we're like, what? Nah.
I think the first two is great, and there was like 4 films, right, of Madagascar. Is that right?
Are there 4? I only thought there were 3.
There might be 3.
But it's a DreamWorks, so they are more likely to go for 4.
Let's see.
Uh,
There's 3.
and
4.
then there's like,
There's a 4th one to be announced. Oh my god.
well, there's also like the
Oh
spin-off,
no.
which is
The
the Penguins of
Penguins.
Madagascar.
Right. But there's an actual this can't be right. Oh, okay. It's a direct to video film, but
Ugh.
it's to be announced. Or is it April 27th? There are things in the works. It's not announced yet. So it's just rumored, essentially. On the Wikipedia page, it's rumored. So can we say that Madagascar, the first film, was absolutely funny? I loved it. I thought it was very funny. Escape to
I remember
Africa.
enjoying it more as a kid than I did as an adult.
Oh yes, very much so. That's very much the yes.
Yeah.
Escape to Africa was okay. Like I thought it was really good. But again, it was just okay to me. But again, I was older by that point.
Yeah.
And the third one, I didn't even. It was just painful. It was just painful to sit through. And I mean,
it'd be
I-
another
was-
one of those things where it's geared towards younger children, even though it's a series that started with us
yeah,
kind of situation.
that's true. Okay, but those are the last because I'm like, DreamWorks. I just can't. I can't. And then, like again, DreamWorks films are. I think DreamWorks films go beyond what Disney, wishes it could do. Pixar does it, but Disney itself can't do it. If that makes sense, because they're trying to keep it very kid friendly because it's all about that marketing, right?
I don't think it's just kid friendly. I think it's that they don't really want to invest in the risk, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but like DreamWorks doesn't care. I mean, they put out was it El Dorado, right? That
Yeah.
had a blowjob scene that's like literally
An
went over our heads.
off-screen blowjob scene. We have
Yeah.
off-screen deaths constantly in Disney, so
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, but that's death. No one's gonna be like, ooh, frisky. Put a fucking blowjob scene in. No, DreamWorks is awesome. I will always like, and I love Disney. Don't get me wrong, I love Disney. But for DreamWorks film, I know as I can. I just love DreamWorks. I just love animation. I do think they push the envelope more than Disney does. And it could be a hit or miss,
Yeah.
obviously. But I like that it's like that. That it's more edgy. It's the
Yeah.
edgy of the animation groups. But that's it for our animation segment. We only took, only 30 minutes.
Not bad
We're
for
doing
us.
great.
at
So
all.
no, because like I'm trying to like slowly wrap that up because I do want to talk about some live action films.
Can we start with Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yes, I was about to say we'll do that before we go into the other things that I want to talk about, which might take a little bit longer. Pirates of the
That's fine.
Caribbean.
Yeah, I feel like Pirates of the Caribbean, especially the original three that follow Captain Jack, Elizabeth Turner, and Will.
Yes.
Or Elizabeth Swan and Will Turner. It follows those three, and then it has 2 additional movies that are tacked on later. I feel like Pirates of the Caribbean, the trilogy, suffers from the same thing that a lot of trilogies suffer from, especially Disney trilogies. That the sequel is the weakest of the bunch because the sequel is always setting up for the third movie. It is not a standalone movie. Orlando Bloom is a bit of a snack.
I love him. Oh my god, I had the biggest crush on him. I still do. He's fine.
Yeah, that's fair. That's legit.
So fine.
I was about to say, he ain't my first pick, but I ain't picky.
Yeah. No, he's good. I love
He
Orlando
is
Bloom.
good.
I even watched a shitty movie that had him in it just because I was like,
Well-
had to do it.
What was it? Was it Elizabethtown?
Yes, it was
Whatever it was?
Elizabethtown.
I remember when that came out. It was still early on in his career. Like
yeah,
even
but still,
what was it? Ian McKellen was commenting in a documentary, or like in some behind the scenes footage that you can find in like the extended cuts and stuff. that Orlando Bloom just was very new and naive to the world of acting. He was a
Oh,
good actor, but he was still very new and naive to it.
yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me that when he has to be the powerhouse that drives a movie, it's not gonna be great
Yeah.
early on in his career. But he actually really grew into himself. I enjoy him now. I think he's gotten this arrogance for his characters that I adore. Have you seen the newer Three Musketeers?
No, I haven't. Although I really want to. It's been popping
He's the
up
bad
on
guy
my...
in it, and he is like a fucking peacock.
Really?
And I
Oh,
love him
wow.
for he has this suave and arrogance, and it's just like, oh my god, yes.
I haven't seen it. So I've been getting like notifications on my TikTok. Sorry, we're segueing, but I've been getting notifications of the Three Musketeers, and I actually really, really want to watch it. And I'm just like, this looks very good. How come I haven't heard of it? But I want to watch
Because
it.
it was bad.
Was it really bad?
Okay, so
Oh
my
no, I had hope.
grandmother-in-law, me and my husband saw it. I think we saw it on the big screen or something. And my grandmother-in-law was going to watch it on TV, and she says like, "Oh, why does it only have 2 stars? It's Three Musketeers. You can't really fuck with a story like that." And we're both like, when we say they took creative liberties for
Oh,
this,
no
they took
fucking
some
way.
creative liberties for it.
Damn.
I don't mind it too terribly much. I think it makes it kind of like a different kind of fun, but it's not like the Kiefer Sutherland, was it Charlie Sheen and Chris O'Donnell Three Musketeers.
Ah, okay.
That's
okay.
more accurate. Oh, and it also has Tim Curry, where it's more vaguely accurate with those.
Uh-huh.
This has a lot more steampunky sci-fi.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So it's a little jarring when you're not prepared for it, but it is. I find it very good. I adore it. I love it a lot.
I think you
So
really
you should
love
watch it. I need you to watch it because I think you would absolutely love Orlando in that.
Okay.
Movie.
All right. Well, we got to move away from Orlando Bloom to talk more about Orlando Bloom, but in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
I've seen. Okay, again, I seen up to the 4th film. I didn't even bother with Dead Man Tell No Tales. I didn't bother with it because the 4th film left such a bad taste in my mouth that I didn't even want to watch the 5th film.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't want to. I do agree that the 2nd film, what was it, on Stranger Tides?
No, second one is Dead Man's Chest.
Dead Man's Chest, you're right. So the second one, Dead Man's Chest, it was, like you said, okay, it was the weakest of the film because it was building up to the 3rd film, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the 3rd film rocked my socks. Loved it. I was there. I was patient. I really liked it. Now, what they could have done is done the Lord of the Rings thing, where every single film was amazing. Even though the 2nd film was building up to the final Lord of the Rings film, it was still very much enjoyable. Like,
argue against that, and the reason that Lord of the Rings was able to do what it did was because they did a really fucking ambitious thing of shooting all 3 movies at the exact same time. Other than that, that was already a preset story. Those are already established books that have established storylines. Pirates of the Caribbean didn't have that. They're like, oh, this did really good. Let's make it a trilogy. Oh, how are we going to get to the 3rd movie? Oh, we'll just have the 2nd movie kind of set it up.
Okay, I can see that. But still, they could have made it more interesting. Like,
I mean, yeah, they could.
That's
but
like
Disney.
You know, you can only give Disney so many passes for it just being Disney. Like, I would hold them to a higher standard because it's Disney. I'd be like, oh yeah, but it's Disney. No, it's Disney. It should be better. Damn it.
So how many Disney movies are there that have had successful sequels, trilogies,
Marvel.
sagas.
It's the Marvel
Yes,
movies.
but that was established well after Pirates of the Caribbean, which was already founded by Marvel Studios.
I'm telling
Marvel
you.
Studios was already establishing the foundation for all these future movies
Yeah.
when Disney bought them out. And Disney's like, oh, we have the money to do all of this now.
So are you saying that Disney just steals ideas?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know why you're asking that because, yeah, it's true. They steal
Disney
ideas.
doesn't have any ideas of their own? They've been stealing shit all this time?
I mean, yes, take a look at Lion King. It's just a retelling
that's
of Hamlet
true.
along with stealing a famous Japanese
I was about to say, yeah.
movie.
What was this shit?
Something with
The
a
White
K.
Lion, yeah. Fuck. I lost
Look
my
at
train of
all the
thought.
Disney princesses. They're literally all grim fairy tales.
Okay, let me ask you, for I guess a saga, what do you think of Twilight? It wasn't discussed in our previous conversations because I
tried to
saw.
repress those fears.
No,
Okay,
listen,
I got
listen.
to a point
Yeah.
in like late high school because this was when the final Harry Potter book was coming out. This was when like Twilight was starting to really hit its peak and start producing the movies. Like I started getting really tired of watching movies based off books during that time period. That I'm just like,
okay.
I didn't finish the Harry Potter series. Movie-wise, I've read all the books. I didn't finish it because I'm like, I can't handle these deaths. It was already really, really bad in the book. I don't want to be crying really bad in a theater. Along with, I don't think they do really good jobs at like adapting them to movies. Like I've already had complaints about the Harry Potter series.
Right.
Being adapted to movies.
I was about to say, I'll get to the Harry Potter in a second, but have you read Twilight? Did you watch
I've read Twilight? I watched everything but the last two movies just because I'm like, I've read it. I don't really find these people very attractive anymore, except Alice is the hottest babe ever.
Oh, yes, that we can agree on.
Yeah, it's like, give the girl props where she deserves them. But I just wasn't super interested in it because it probably came out when I was going into college, and I'm just like, and I'm bored. I want something different.
Yeah. I read to the second book. It was okay. The first book, fine. I read that. Second book, I just couldn't read it. It was boring. It was so big and it was boring to me. It dragged its foot. I watched the films. Loved the first one as my teen, whatever self. But I loved it also because of the music. The music was bomb in the first film. Loved the music.
Yeah, I remember the baseball scene being really good.
Yeah. I tried watching the second film, but just like the second book, it bored me. It bored me to tears. And it just made me feel very bad for her dad. What's his name? Isabella's dad, who's the real trooper in all of this, because Isabella was just a whiny bitch. Oh my gosh, I hated her. And I was just like, girl, please, just no. And of course, Edward was also whiny, and it was just too much. The second film, it was just too much teen angst that like even I as a teen was like, okay, this is getting a little too much, even this is too much for me. So I couldn't finish it. My what was it? My friends who, still loved the books and they wanted to see through it till the end, read or watched the third and fourth film, which was condensed.
Yeah, the third was split into two movies. And
yes.
They did that because it's like, oh, Harry Potter did that. Let's do what they did.
Right. And I didn't watch it. I didn't want to waste money on it.
Yeah.
And they told me, yeah, no, it was terrible. Those who were still fans were like, yeah, this is pretty bad, actually. And I was like, oh, shit. They fucked up.
Yeah.
They fucked up.
And I'm a little sad that I kind of missed out on the movie, like the
hype?
both third parts, the 2 parts of the third movie.
Yeah.
Just because it has Dakota Fanning in it, and I really enjoy Dakota Fanning.
Yeah.
And I want her in more stuff, obviously, because I really enjoy her, but it's like, it's Twilight.
Yeah,
We don't get enough of her to justify me watching this.
Yeah, it's Twilight. So I do remember Twilight being a big thing, like a big thing.
Oh my god, yeah.
However, however, I'm glad that we've accepted it and moved beyond that to Harry Potter.
Hey, can I say one thing that could have improved the Twilight saga?
Yes.
Tim Curry.
Yeah. Just add him to everything. Add Tim Curry to everything. Oh my god.
Am I wrong though?
No.
Really good.
No. Let me ask you
Tim
this.
Curry or Wesley Snipes? Get Blade in there and kick some ass.
Yeah, hell yeah. It'd be a completely different film if Blade was there. You know that, right? It'd be more awesome. That's what it would be.
Does it sound like I'm complaining?
So let me ask.
Yep.
Harry Potter, another saga.
Yep.
Do you think it has weak films?
Oh, absolutely.
Bad, like really? Do you think they have bad
Having
trilogies?
read the books, every film from like movie 3 on.
Okay, I'm gonna have to say this. I'm gonna have to implement a rule. It doesn't matter if you read the book.
I think if it's based off a book, it's important.
No. I'm saying no. I'm gonna say this. Comparing to the first film, not the first book or the books. Comparing to the films, which one was the weakest one? Because that way you have the other films to, have your base for. Because if you're like, oh, well, I read the books and I should say this, this, and this, no one's going to like it. Because, of course, the books are better. They're always going to be better. Always. So, comparative to the other films.
I honestly think that movie 3, Prisoner of Azkaban on, are bad.
Really?
Yeah. But the worst of the worst is probably movie 4, which is The Goblet of Fire.
Okay, why do you say that?
And the reason I say that, and we're looking at the entire saga, we're not going to include the books.
Not including the books, yes.
That Dumbledore's...
Oh,
Dumbledore.
Yeah.
I've told you this before. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but the original Dumbledore was perfect. He was a perfect headmaster. He was very calm, listened very well to everybody. There are some problems when you start really looking into the entire Harry Potter universe about Dumbledore, but we're going to leave that aside.
Yeah. We're just going to turn a blind eye to that.
He was very, like, subtly regal in a sense. Very elegant, very calm. He commanded respect without demanding respect. And you get this new actor because the original actor for the first 2 movies passed between the second and third movie. They had to go with a new guy. I don't like him as Dumbledore. I never liked him as Dumbledore. I saw him on screen. I'm just like, why the fuck is he running around in a fucking muumuu the entire goddamn time? Where is his elegant robes? Where's his demeanor? Why is he so flippant about shit? And I have told you this in person though.
Yes.
That my biggest complaint for the 4th movie, The Goblet of Fire, is that he loses his goddamn shit at Harry for putting it supposedly putting his name in the Goblet of Fire, which does not match the original Dumbledore at all. It does match this actor's interpretation of Dumbledore, so he's consistent with that. It's just like, you turn him into a villain towards Harry. A blatant villain towards Harry doing that.
I love your passion. This is why I'm pushing you through this.
He's not an ally to Harry.
No, yeah.
Like, he's supposed to be.
Okay, I can see that for sure.
Because villains, someone toxic to you doesn't have to be your villain. It doesn't have to be a villain or a nemesis or anything like that. Someone toxic to you can be your family or who you perceive as family. And that's what they did with this new Dumbledore, this new interpretation of Dumbledore. And it pisses me off.
Oh, and Richard Harris was the best Dumbledore.
Thank you, Monty. Thank you.
I was about to say, if we're comparing Harry Potter, which we should do like a Harry Potter podcast.
Yeah. I mean, we did one already, but that was specifically J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, that was J.K. Rowling and her being problematic.
Yeah.
So, I think the reason why I also brought up Harry Potter was, and as a film, not as books, is because I also want you to compare, and I'm saying you because I love your salt and it gives me life. So
life.
I know. So this is why I'm asking you, and I'll get to mine in a second, my own opinions on this. So even though it's a spin-off, we've already talked about Cars and Planes and whatever, Planes being the spin-off, but technically the sequel, but spin-off, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. What are your opinions on that? Because technically it's a sequel. It does involve a lot of the other characters that you know and love, like a young Dumbledore, which you actually really hate.
I really love that it's Jude Law.
I do too.
I love Jude Law, even though he's not like a great person, is my understanding. But it's like I really love him, and he does have this like confidence and this elegance about him, not like the original Dumbledore had, but just enough for us to understand that it's like this is still supposed to still be Dumbledore.
Right.
Fantastic Beasts has a lot of potential, so much potential, and it's not committing to it.
How do you say that? Like, why do you say that?
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Like,
yes.
Why aren't we going and like exploring the universe more? Like this Harry Potter universe more? Why aren't we like exploring more magic, more magical beasts? Why are we following a villain? Crimes of Grindelwald. Why are we following Grindelwald? Like, I understand he's the worst of the worst, even before Voldemort, in a sense, but why? Like, why should we care?
I feel like
not everybody is immediately affected by him. Like, yeah, sure, we can follow him, but why do we have to? We can follow Grindelwald, but why do we have to include that in what could have been a world-building character?
So so this is my thing, my personal opinion. I actually do love that the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Like, I like what the concept is. I wish it was a standalone movie. I don't think it should have. I mean, of course, it's because they tag it on to the whole Harry Potter kind of thing. And like, I get that, like, that's cool and whatever. But I think it would have been better if it was like maybe its own standalone series. Something to get people excited for. Because it doesn't feel like a Harry Potter movie. It doesn't feel like Harry Potter did with the whole, and Monty pointed this out, like in the first two films where there's like adventures and magic and, you know, wonder and all that stuff. It doesn't have any of that. Even with the animals or with the creatures that he picks up, you know, or that he's studying, it doesn't even have that. And I will also say it's trying to be too edgy. Does that make sense?
I think the best way to describe it is that they're trying to have two different themes shoved into the same movie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. Because it's far too drastic. Like, what does Newt Scamander have anything to do with Grindelwald?
Yeah.
Like I get it, Dumbledore kind of ties the two together, but it's like
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that they have to be in the same room or in the same movie together.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I liked it. Again, I liked the film, and I think I don't know what's gonna happen to the third film. Well, it's gonna be different, that's for sure. But
I mean, that's if we get it.
it, yeah, yeah.
Because there is that controversy surrounding Johnny Depp.
Yeah. I want to, like, I really want to, like, I'm holding out hope that it's still as good. Because the second film was good, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. However, I have no memory of it. Like, there was nothing that stuck out to me. Like, at all. And with that situation, I'm just like, well, and I watched the film with a friend of mine who also is very, very big on Harry Potter and was critical. It was interesting for the both of us. We both agreed that it was like, it could be better. It could be better because it didn't stick out. Nothing about it stuck out to us. Nothing about the film. And when you want a sequel to stand out, like we've talked about in all the like previous sequels, especially with DreamWorks, you can tell that they try to make the second film even better than the first. But in Fantastic Beasts, it just did not feel like that at all. Like at all. They should have taken a page out of Shrek 2's book. I'm kidding, by the way. But yeah,
we were supposed to have a fairy godmother that sings to us.
Yeah, exactly. I need a hero. Can you imagine? It will change. Listen, if you put that in the background of any of like the fighting songs, like fighting
Can
scenes,
we have
in
Newt
that,
Scamander come in with his skinny ass?
bruh, it would change the film. Everyone would be like, yeah, they'll be pumped. Woo woo. Oh man, I'm dumb. Anyway, that's what I think.
We still love you.
That's what I believe. I genuinely believe. But yes, I think with bad sequels, those I'm picking out from the big leagues.
Yeah.
Because I can't even touch Marvel. Marvel's like superhero sequels and everything, I feel like are strong. They're not as weak. There might be some weak-ish.
I got one for
films. Yeah.
If we want a big one, I got one for you.
Oh no. Okay.
Star Wars.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So Star Wars, right?
Because it's a saga, and
it is a saga.
Trilogies
That's a good
within
one.
Of that.
Okay, we're gonna spend the next 30 minutes finishing up with just Star Wars because I have opinions. Okay, this is coming from someone. Okay, first of all, Star Wars at first did not have a book series or anything to like you said pull from, right?
For the original film, no, but by the time the third film was finished,
right,
there
but
was
yeah, I was about to say by that point, yes. However, the first 3 films, they made it, created it. Okay, they created this whole world in the first 3 films, and then from there, people wrote books and such. Sticking to the first 3 films, just for now, okay? The second one is the weakest. The third one is funny. I don't know how to explain it. Because
we're talking about, again, the original trilogy, correct?
Yes. 4, 5, and 6. No. Yes. Right. Yes. So yes, 4, 5, and 6. I was trying to think. Is it right? Yeah. No, it is. 4, 5, and 6. Yes. So the 5th and 6th films, you can tell, and I think this is why it was such a cult classic. They changed up a lot of the story. Because Princess Leia had an accent in the first film that she lost in the second and third. because she tried to sound more regal in the first film,
Hmm.
and then she dropped that in the second and third film. That was definitely not that in the previous films. Also, the kissing scene between her and her brother was literally just like no one talked about it ever again.
I mean,
so
I mean, fair.
yeah,
fair.
like they retconned a lot of things or pretended that it didn't exist, you know, in the first two and three
Okay,
films.
okay. Would
No.
you, if you ended up kissing your brother, would you ever want to talk about it again? If
No,
you
but
did
they should
find
have
out?
just acknowledged it, cause like, come on now, it was there. That was a thing they happened, and then of course they changed the script to be like, oh no, they're siblings, and it's Han Solo who should get the girl. Like, okay, that's why I love the trilogy, the main trilogy. Okay, I think Star Wars has a problem of just like what I mentioned. They just have a problem of figuring out what they want in these characters, or what they're gonna do with these characters, or how they're gonna build the world. Because I know I'm not saying this correctly. And the first, second, and third, or like not the first, second, and third
Episodes
film.
1, 2, and 3.
Yes,
Okay, the
they
prequels. Okay.
yes, um, they're like, oh no, the force is in the mitochondria of the cell. That kind of situation.
Wait, since you did it again.
I know I did. I did it for that reason. I know I did that to piss you off.
We've talked about
I know.
Star Wars before
Yes.
outside of the podcast, like between the two of us. And we've talked about the prequel before.
Yes.
And even
I'm forever
I
gonna
love
say
her
it.
Icy to death. She tries so hard. Star Wars is not her thing. She tries so fucking hard.
Yes.
She told me when she was trying to explain like how there was kind of like a problem with one and all this stuff. She's like, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of
House
the
of the
Force."
cell. Well, yeah, the force.
No,
Yeah.
you said the Force.
Exactly. I said what I said because that's how they
You're
were
not
trying.
wrong.
Listen, yeah, there was a different name. I know there's a different name for it. But-
Midichlorians.
Yes,
Midichlorians.
it's yeah, but it's still the same concept. Oh, it's like something in your body that creates the force. It's the powerhouse of the force, and that's what I'm like. It's the mitochondria. It's the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell / force. Like, and that's how it was explained when I first saw episode 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and I was like, wait, this was never mentioned in 4, 5, and 6, like at all. You know. And we can all agree, episodes 1, 2, and 3 weren't the strongest of that kind of trilogy compared to 4, 5, and 6, because everyone held 4, 5, and 6 to a higher regard without recognizing that it also had like a bunch of plot holes, like we just described. But then,
I think Star Wars kind of suffers between what Pirates of the Caribbean suffer from and how it's not succeeding like The Lord of the Rings. Is that
yeah,
the original, let's walk through this. The original trilogy is based off Akira Kurosawa's movies. Like, A New Hope is based off The Hidden Fortress by Akira Kurosawa. It's even stated in the credits. You can go look it up. Fantastic movie. Go watch it. They create this universe, they create this storyline off the top of their head, and they kind of have to make it work. Then after that, the books started being written and expanding the universe in a written form.
mm-hmm.
And then we get the prequels that are trying to not be canon, kind of have its own thing while kind of referencing the books and not really knowing where to go.
Okay.
And from there, like, we get the Clone Wars movie and the Clone Wars series, and we get Star Wars Rebels, and like, we get more and more books, we get more and more graphic novels, we get a further expansion of the universe.
Yeah.
And then they try and retcon all that, saying,
They
oh,
do
these
so
stories aren't canon. Oh, these stories are only this, and they're trying to control this, create new canon and new facts
Mm-hmm.
while being original without copying anybody from, say, the books.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it falls short. It's like you have all this already established work done for you, and you're not gonna just accept it.
Right. Well,
When they could, it would make life so much easier. Like, they're even trying to do it now. They tried to do it with Rebels by bringing Thrawn in.
right.
They tried to do it with Mandalorian by bringing Thrawn in again. Try to bring Thrawn in again. It's just like, they're in books. Use the books.
yeah, now they can.
But they're not going to.
No. So can we talk about this? This is, I think you are also, I know you have a lot of opinions because we're still talking sequels of
Me?
the
What?
7th,
Opinions?
8th,
Salt?
and 9th.
Girl,
of
you
Star
have
Wars.
just as much opinions about 8
I know
as
I do. Oh. Oh.
Okay, 8 has problems because it was a completely different director.
Right.
The episode 7's director was not contracted for all 3 episodes, so he's like, alright, I did mine. Bye. Giving the bird to them as he walks out. It's just like,
oh, I'm so
okay.
mad. Yeah.
I honestly would say the worst sequel I have ever seen is episode 8.
Out of all of them?
Out of like literally everything ever.
Okay, so wow, that's
I mean,
some
like
strong
that, it
opinions.
has some great things about it, like some great standalone scenes, like the light jump through the Star Destroyer, or like, yeah, I think it's a Star Destroyer. It's like, that's amazing. They did a fantastic job, cinematography, all that stuff. But holy Jesus. It's me off.
I just want to say, I know it pisses you. I know it pisses you off. Okay, so I have qualms with 8. If this is with any sequel. Okay, so with any sequel, to me, what makes a bad sequel is you don't acknowledge anything from the first film to incorporate into your other films. And with Star Wars,
you're not bringing the story along through it.
Yeah, and with Star Wars, you know, it's very important because Star Wars is known for retconning a lot of things, like a lot of it. And you know, it's still beloved. It's still one of the most beloved series of all time. If not, Disney wouldn't have bought it, you know, because it's Disney.
Right.
And I remember when we watched 7, everyone liked it. Everyone had their theories. Everyone was like, all the fans were gathered together just to talk about it. And, you know, in a way that they were filled with hope. They were filled with a new hope, if you want to say. Anyway.
A lot of people that say that the movies are named wrong say that episode 7 should have been named A New Hope. That they should have juggled around the names better.
Yeah, that's right. So, they, I know, so, because they were thinking it would be like episode 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It's pulled from a lot of the classic, you know, and of course Han Solo, you know, what's his name?
Yeah.
I think
Harrison
of him as
Ford.
I was gonna say he's always Indiana Jones. I don't see him as Han Solo. He's just Indiana Jones for me, which we'll talk about because it's also a series. But I did not like. I think when the 8th film came out, all their new hope was dashed and tossed aside because I don't think anyone hated it as much as actual Star Wars fans hated it. You know, the 8th film. And I remember it. I remember coming out of it. I was with my husband. We walked out And we're
And your
like,
husband's a much larger Star Wars fan
yes,
than you
he is.
are.
Yes, very much. And just to see, like, I was disappointed. I was like, though there's a lot of things wrong with it film wise, like as a film buff,
Yeah.
like how they wrote the film, how they did all this. There was a lot of it wrong with it, and they were retconning things again. I look at my husband's face. I've never seen anything so dejected. He was so sad, and like because
Which is
you-
saying something. It breaks your heart because
yeah,
when your
'cause, like,
husband's sad, he looks like a kicked puppy. He really does.
It was just like he tried to like it too, like he really did. But the eighth film was awful, and like when the ninth film came out, everyone was like sitting at the edge of their seats. They're like on the edge of their keyboards, ready to either praise it or shit on it. That's what it was. So the seventh film was hands down really good in Star Wars. But like just like in the original, episode 4 was really good. But then when they started retconning everything, I mean it's close to what Star Wars is, because Star Wars in the second film they retconned a lot of things as well as the third one. But in 8 and 9, especially after 8, all hopes were dashed, and they were just hoping and praying that the ninth film wouldn't be as bad. Like they knew it was going to come out. They knew number 9 was going to come out. And they were just, Star Wars fans were just hoping, at least for my husband, was just hoping it wouldn't be as bad as 8 was. Because you're never going to get as good as what 7 was, right? So they're just like, please don't let it be as bad as 8. So as a Star Wars fan, what did you think? Was it better or worse? Number 9, episode 9.
9 was so much better than
8?
8. And like I watched 9 after watching Clone Wars and Rebels and Resistance and Mandalorian and all of that, or season 1 of Mandalorian. I hadn't seen season 2 yet at that point. And it's like, oh shit, they're doing like all this stuff with the Force that no one's really done with in the other trilogies.
Oh, yeah.
That's established in the canon shows. So like the dyad, which is Rey and Kylo of the Force, the fact that she gave him a lightsaber right there at the end, I lost my shit. I'm like, fucking yes!
Yeah,
This is how we need to be using the Force. This is how we need to be playing with the Force like that. And I know it seems like, oh, no, they shouldn't be doing that. That's too far-fetched. And I'm like, no, if you have any, like, concept of what kind of shit the Force can do and how fucking weird it gets, like, it's a goddamn acid trip half the time when you start getting into, like, Force lore.
Right.
I'm all for it. But it's still weak because it's having to correct 8.
Oh, yes.
And it could
That
have,
I do.
if
Yes.
it didn't have to correct 8, it would have been so much stronger. They could have done so much more. Now I will give 8 this, that they played with the dyad between Rey and Kylo very well. I think they did a really, really good job with that. A little awkward with that shirtless Kylo scene.
Yeah.
Like, still has me traumatized.
Yeah.
Still has me fucking traumatized.
Yes.
But, like,
I love that it was a meme. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I know, like, I saw that and I'm
I
like,
just wanna
oof. I said that out loud in a theater. I'm like,
Oh, no. Right.
Oh, that was so painful. But,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like, it makes sense why people are mad about all this. It's like, oh, who the fuck is Snoke for this, for like these first 2 episodes?
Right.
And like, where the fuck did he come from? And then all of a sudden we get Palpatine. The fuck? And Rey's like related to him.
Yeah, that's right. I think when I saw that,
I think that's
was,
a cheap shot.
Yes.
Honestly.
When I first saw that, I was like, I should have been excited. I should have been like, woo! But I was like, no.
I have
why?
mixed feelings about it. Because
Okay.
it kind of makes sense because the dyad is supposed to be the balance in the force. That's what the force is all about. The force is always seeking balance with itself. And
Okay.
so, like, you have Kylo. Like, that's what they did really fucking good with in episode 8 is the struggle between the light and the dark in Kylo and in Rey. We see
Okay.
that very clearly between the two, and when they fight to kill Snoke, we see that struggle of balance for both of them. That Rey kind of loses it, kind of starts toeing the dark side, and Kylo is kind of like stepping into the light, and that's a huge fluctuation between the two in that fight. Fantastic. So Kylo is born of a light side.
Right.
Darth Vader ends up returning to the light side by the time he dies. So we have this line of light side. So Kylo being on the light side eventually. Cool, alright, I get that. Rey coming from the side of the dark side. I think that's very interesting. But unlike Palpatine, or like unlike the Skywalker line, Palpatine never had that fluctuation with the Force. Like the Skywalker side did. Anakin did. Anakin flip-flopped constantly. Palpatine never did. He was dark side the entire time. And I kind of wish that we had gotten, if we were going to do Palpatine as her grandfather, I'm like, can we get like her parents kind of flip-flopping between the dark and the light?
You don't get anything from her parents.
Except that they die.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Like, oh man. It's because like I think that's what also contributed to the fact that I didn't, when they revealed who her ancestor was, I was just like, what? Because like you get nothing from her parents. Her parents didn't signify anything. They just died.
Yeah.
Oh, that was frustrating.
So like I think Kylo being one half of the dyad is great because he is fighting with the balance between the dark and the light side. He's not finding balance between the two, but he comes from a family that struggle with both.
Okay, yeah.
So it would have been nice to have that in Rey as well. There's a lot to have problems with these three movies.
I was about to say, and then the whole Finn thing, like he's force sensitive, but
that's a thing. I wish we just had more of it. I wish that we could have had like
they did him dirty.
More Finn and Rey as best buddies, where he's like calling her out. You need to stop being your dumbass shit. Get your ass off that dark side and come back over to the light side, you bitch. I need more best friend Finn.
Man, I agree. Because damn.
Because there are different levels of force sensitivity, and having Finn do that, that's great. Like, there are multitude of populations in the Star Wars galaxy that are force sensitive and not Jedi or Sith. Like, there are entire cultures that are like Jar Jar Binks' girlfriend. We talked about this in the the Clone Wars podcast. Jar Jar Binks' girlfriend is force sensitive. She's extremely force sensitive. She can actually see visions of the future. Like, we could have had something like that with Finn and add another aspect of the Force.
But they did him dirty.
Explore. They did him so fucking
dirty. They did him dirty. And that, I think everyone agrees. They did Finn dirty. I will stand by that. Because fuck that.
John Boyega is mad about it, too.
I mean, listen. I would be, too. If I was in a franchise, like a movie franchise this big, and they didn't give me props, mad prop, and and of course this goes in with the bad sequels. I swear this makes sense. And then they write this character just to be awful. This is awful. You know, he started strong like everyone else did. They started strong, and they were just shot upon. And it all circulates around the 8th film. It was all the 8th film. That's the toilet. They all went down that toilet.
And they just fucked like another problem with the Star Wars sequel series is that they fucked around with the romance
Yeah.
so goddamn much.
Yeah.
So it was like
Just give
Rey
Finn and
could've-
Poe a chance. Come on, Disney.
I
You
know,
cowards.
BB-8 needs
You
two dads,
cowards.
god damn it.
They were generals. Come on. You could have just. I could. Oof. You cowards. Anyway, we actually need to wrap up soon.
No.
Oh, yeah.
BB-8 needs two dads.
Yeah, exactly. But I hope you guys liked bad sequels. I know we went through Star Trek over Star Wars. Oh.
Zamer.
I don't know about that.
What you doing up in my podcast chat with that trash?
What you doing speaking trash like that? But yeah.
We only allow salt around here, no trash.
Yeah, so I hope you guys liked bad sequels. I know there's still so many, and we mostly dealt with sagas like Pirates of the Caribbean or Lord of the Rings. Oh, no. Well, we didn't even talk about The Hobbit, which is why I also wanted to talk about Lord of the Rings, because Lord of the Rings was really good. Hobbit, not so much. Kind of like the Harry Potter and the Fantastic Beast argument. That's kind of what it was.
But they also, well, they split it up into 3 movies, but The Hobbit is fucking huge, so I'm like, that kind of makes sense.
Well, my book,
it's
like the Hobbit book that I have is not as big as like the Lord of the Rings. I mean, I don't know. They
well, okay.
Just like
so
you said,
the Lord of the Rings trilogy, or or a specific book from Lord of the Rings.
A specific book. Because they're still small compared to most of the. Let me see.
I was about to say The Hobbit is a lot larger than any of the individual Lord of the Rings books. Because it's Lord of the Rings, the series. It's the Fellowship, the Return of the King, and the.
Oh, you're right. I have it on my shelf. I literally just turned around and looked, and you're like, you're right.
Now, like Lord of the Rings itself is much bigger than The Hobbit, but The Hobbit is the largest book of each individual book.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Because I'm looking at
Except
my shelf,
for
and I have the trilogy. I have the trilogy in one book, and that's much bigger. And The Hobbit is pretty there. Okay, no, you're right.
Well, it makes sense that The Hobbit was kind of split into 3 movies because it is a very, very large and extremely dense book. It is so fucking dense.
That's it. It's very dense. But they also took creative liberty. Because I watched The Hobbit, and they took a lot of creative liberty with that as well. Yeah. And it was okay. A lot of the people who liked Lord of the Rings just did not like The Hobbit. Which was, again... but we don't have a lot of time to talk about it because, you know, we have to head out soon. But it's pretty much the same thing as Fantastic Beasts. Like, I don't remember much of it because there was not a lot of things that stuck out to me. You know what I mean? With The Hobbit. So, anyway, I hope you guys liked bad sequels. I know we talked with Blade first because that's what started. And if you haven't seen Blade, just watch the first and the third movie. Fuck the second movie, okay? That's we're gonna end with Blade. But yeah, do you want to end? Do you have anything else to say to end the stream?
I was gonna say we should send off with at least a good sequel, and I had one and I couldn't remember what it is now.
A good sequel? I will say Lord of the Rings, because the trilogy is honestly the strongest out of any good like sequel movies. But everyone knows Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is good. Just saying. If you won't be disappointed.
Even get to Batman.
Oh, it didn't.
The Dark Knight.
Oh yeah, The Dark Knight. Shit.
Oh no, we're gonna have a Batman podcast.
I was gonna say oh god, if you're gonna have to bring someone else in for that, because if not, it's just gonna be you talking. But yeah. I think that's
clearly
everything.
When we get super nerdy, like American nerdy, that's my podcast. I
was about to say, I said Lord of the Rings. What are you gonna say as your
I had one
good
out,
sequel?
And I can't remember what it is now. I don't. What was it? I can't even remember if it was live action or animated.
I'm trying to think of it. Okay, we already talked about Rescuers. Like those two are very good.
Well, we didn't even talk about Frozen, which was the first official Disney sequel.
Yeah, that wasn't that
Frozen 2.
Yeah. Wait, I thought Rescuers Down Under was the first official Disney sequel. Because it's made by the original.
I don't think so.
I thought it was made from the original Disney Studios, because that's the one that wasn't.
I don't
Hold
think
on.
so. I really don't think so. And I still can't remember what I was gonna say.
All right, well, I'm gonna look this up.
While you're looking that up, I'm gonna try and remember what I was gonna say, but no promises.
Yep, no, it was. Yep, it's considered before Frozen ever was. It was Rescuers Down Under because it was still in the same production team, like Disney production team, which is why I think this is why it looked so good compared to all the other like Disney sequels and stuff.
That like me and my husband watched what was it? King of Thieves kind of recently, a few weeks ago, about 2 months ago or something. And I'm just like, oh yeah, King of Thieves, that is hot. And then it's just like, ooh, the animation though.
Yeah, the cringe animation because it's by Walt Disney Pictures.
Yeah,
Walt Disney, production company, Walt Disney Pictures. So that's Rescuers Down Under, and so what was it? Frozen 2 should have taken a book out of the Rescuers Down Under. That's all I'm going to say, because Rescuers Down Under was a hit in the 90s. It was a hit, and Frozen wish it could be like that. Just saying.
I really think one of the biggest problems Frozen 2 had was that, like, music video.
Oh, yeah.
Right there in the middle of the fucking movie was awful.
I forgot about All Dogs Go to Heaven, but yeah. I forgot about that shit movie. The
That's
first one's
because
still
all
good.
dogs are good.
Yeah, all dogs good boys. Okay, we gotta go.
Nah.
You're not gonna remember your thing until you're gonna have to tweet
remember.
about it. You're gonna have to tweet about it.
Girl, it gone. It ain't coming back. Not even at 3 a.m. It gone.
Well, in case you do remember, we'll post it on our Twitter, which you can find us at What's Your Pin 10 on Twitter. And most of the stuff that we have, like any other topics we're gonna talk about, we will normally post on Twitter. Except not this week, because this week has been rough. But for next week, because something we were really, really excited to talk about, just trashy sequels. Not only in Disney, but like
in general.
Lord of the Rings, yeah. Star Wars. Damn. I knew Star Wars would take 30 minutes. It's just fucking Star Wars.
That's because it's me and I don't shut up.
Star Wars. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good week. Stay safe out there, and yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Until then, have a good night or week. Good week. Holy crap. Bye.
Bye.